So they went and did it. Stadia is no more. It is shutting down. Google are killing off Stadia. Now, despite all the memes that Stadia is dying, that it's on its last legs, or isn't Stadia dead already, and all of that, I actually enjoyed using Stadia for all its convenience and ease of use. But maybe I was just in the minority, clearly. But the question is, who really killed Stadia? Let's talk about it. For some, it was inevitability. For some, it was just a matter of time. For others, a surprise, as they thought Stadia had already been killed. This is a classic killed by Google, whilst others have been mainly services, early development, or just after launch, like Google Glass. Yeah, so I remember when Google killed Google Glass, but that was very soon afterwards. I don't think there's been none quite as brutal in its execution as this, in the killed by Google stakes. Google here, they figuratively ripped the kitten from the child's arms and shot it in the face. But it's okay, because we get the value of the kitten back in sweets. For all the naysayers, the I told you so's, and those that wanted it dead, no one saw the manner in which this happened. Most of the Stadia team had no idea. They basically turned up to work at 8:30 a.m. for an all-hands-on-deck meeting, and boom, they were told. These were engineers who just delivered that week a new user interface and were on the verge of rolling out additional features. Product managers who've been talking to developers and publishers about releases this very week. Developers getting final approval on games. I mean, one of the best ports we've ever seen dropped as a Stadia Pro title. And I'm talking about Hot Wheels Unleashed. One of the biggest game franchises of the year, FIFA 23, launched officially the very next day. And Dead Island 2 was coming in February. This was very much business as usual until the hitman from upstairs came in. Agent 47 came in. I knew there was a similarity between Agent 47 and Phil Harrison. You never see them in the same room, do you? So look, sure, a small cabal-like elite team within Google knew, obviously, yeah, some very select from the upper echelons, maybe of the Stadia team, who were properly in the loop, strict confidentiality bases, yeah, in order to work out the execution, unfortunate phrase, of the Stadia cancellation. You know, legal would have been consulted on its implications in terms of consumers and existing contracts. HR were there on marketing, on managing the staff, marketing and PR on how to handle the message both internally and externally. But other than this, like tiny, probably elite secret team working on a need to know basis, this, and we know this for a fact, blindsided the Stadia team. No question about it. Google killed Stadia. Can't argue with that. That's a fact. It goes on that list. It goes on that website. That's just reality. But it was not winding down. Expansion to Mexico and Turkey was about to happen. New features were planned by the end of the year. I know this. Sources, genuine sources. Sources also tell me that they were in the stages of taking the next step beyond low change porting, which would be to virtually eliminate any porting time. One of the sticking points for many developers and publishers. Stadia knew this, the day-to-day management of Stadia. They knew what Stadia needed to do. And they were working hard. I have this on good authority on ironing out these and evolving and iterating. So in no way was Stadia being wound up or slowed down. It was trying to find its own way, iterate and evolve until the market was ready for it. Like the journey the Chromebooks took. Chromebooks were scoffed at in early days, had stumbles and missteps. But now, Chromebooks are legit laptops. They're a major sort of source of hardware for Google and stuff like that. The market share is growing, etc. Chromebooks were given the time to sort of iterate and develop, but clearly the market was not going to be ready soon enough for Stadia, or should we say for Google's liking in terms of, you know, profitability. Stadia closing was the product of many, many things, but there was one chief thing among all of the things, maybe explains why it was so sudden. And that was the economic downturn. Fundamentally, that's what it was. Sundar Pichai announced that Google was going to undergo an efficiency drive like about a month or so ago. Yeah. Job hires were frozen. I believe savings of up to 20% across the company were mentioned as Google went through all its businesses, looking at where it could make cuts. When Sundar announced an efficiency drive across Google, there was a momentary concern. I just assumed that Stadia would survive this culling process that was clearly going to be taking place. I thought to myself, if Stadia gets through to October, the cutoff date for this efficiency drive, if Stadia could get over that, get through this efficiency drive, then yeah, my faith in Stadia, my optimism in Stadia would be truly justified and proven and all of that, and I need not worry. Well, Stadia didn't make it to October. So there you go. January the 18th, 2023. It's all over. In my view, cloud gaming takes a little step back, a little stutter. The world of cloud gaming has a sort of a stumble. The gaming world clearly was not ready for what Stadia offered, or at least Google did not back it enough to win over the hearts and minds of a hardcore gaming market, loyally tied to the masts of Sony and Xbox. Google wanted to be a disruptor. That was what it was trying to be. It wanted to tell gamers, hey, you know how you've gamed the same way for 20 years, buying consoles, being part of the PC master race? Yeah, change that. That's all changing. And we want you to change now. But Google didn't do that, did they? And maybe they needed much more, backing, like to convince people sort of set in their ways. In general, gamers, gaming press were confused, scared, misunderstood the vision, or wanted to stay in their lane. To disrupt the market on the scale that Google wanted to do needs serious backing. It needs a vision, and it has to have that vision from the get-go. And to be honest, it did have that vision. That's why many of us jumped on board, the Stadia games and entertainment and all of that. But we know that initial execution, that vision didn't plan out how many wanted or expected. That vision was eroded and the backing from Google was reduced. That's fine. To me, that was them realigning and saying, okay, the market may not be quite ready yet, but Stadia can find its own path and carry on iterating and evolving until the mass market is ready. So let's not throw billions of pounds in there now when the market's not ready for it. In a way, Stadia doing what Google does and iterating and evolving that's what it was doing, but on a much more limited budget, just refining and adding and updating things. But sadly, it's not to be. It's just not to be. But there is also another factor, maybe. And it's not just Google cost cutting and that's it. In terms of the cost cutting, the new Pixel Book team at Google cut. We've got new Pixel phones, got new Pixel watches. There's going to be a brand new Pixel Book. That team cut. Area 120, the new early ideas development team, cut. Other departments are at risk that we may not know about at the moment. There are losses across the whole of Google, job losses across the whole of Google. Stadia was in the chopping block there. The question is, what happens next in terms of gaming and Google and how Google supports gaming? Mainstream gamers will not trust Google for a long time. Plenty didn't trust them in the first place, but may now definitely for a long time with any consumer offering. But the industry, those within the gaming business who use Google Cloud for their multiplayer games, the Google Cloud tools, companies like Take-Two who actually partner with Google Cloud to offer development tools for the gaming industry, and those that have used Immersive Stream, obviously the tech that powers Stadia, like Bungie, who relied on it to continue developing Destiny 2, Capcom with their Resident Evil Village demo, AT&T. Google Cloud has a variety of gaming industry tools, server support, and of course, cloud computing. That side of the business, I believe, still has trust in the industry. And in an odd way, with no more Stadia, that trust may increase. That thing about trusting Google Cloud with your gaming business when Google themselves don't have a video game business, that trust may increase. Think about it. If you're a massive gaming platform or a publisher looking to start its own cloud platform, say, and Stadia is no longer a potential competitor, then suddenly using the powerful resources of Google Cloud for your gaming needs becomes that little bit more attractive. So maybe one of the factors in the decision that Google made, aside from the economic downturn, is that Stadia potentially held back selling some Google Cloud services to big corporate gaming companies. Maybe Google's Immersive Stream stands more chance of having an impact on gaming and with gaming industry partners if Stadia is no longer a competitor to that company's business. Those big gaming companies, without the cloud resources that, say, Microsoft have in Azure, and who are competing with Microsoft and Xbox, maybe they can find a solution in a cloud company that's no longer competing with them for the same consumers. Maybe, just maybe, as part of the business case for shuttering Stadia, is that Stadia was sacrificed for the greater good of more viable and potentially richer Google business. I'd just say watch this space for clues or announcements from the games industry about any new partnerships and deals with Google Cloud. Could this usher in publisher cloud gaming platforms like Ubisoft Plus Cloud Gaming or an EA Play Cloud Gaming? Could other aspects of Google Cloud platform help support giant gaming companies competing with Microsoft, who, as I said, have Azure? Surely it must stick in the throat of Sony that they have to use Microsoft Azure for their platform, their main competitor's cloud platform. Is the decision to kill Stadia that Google made the right one for Google business in the long run? Who knows? And it's just a theory that the spirit of Stadia may somehow live on through the gaming industry and its tech and the groundwork it laid. But not the consumers will be even aware of that. Not that they will even care. But its essence and its spirit will be out there, powering games and supporting game companies in some way or another. But maybe, just maybe, I provided a little bit of context, maybe some logic, maybe some reasoning behind this harsh decision. Hard though it is to swallow as a consumer of the tech. Although many of us watching this chose to be Stadia founders, like me, perhaps, consider this, perhaps in the end, we were not the founders, but rather the pioneers, making the way clear for the founders to come sometime in the future. Anyway, I hope you found that useful. I hope you found it interesting. If you did, then please hit the likes because I like it. YouTube likes it. And it helps people like you find great content like this. And if you are new, do me the great honor. Why don't you hit that subscribe button, toggle that notification bell, and that way you know when I'll go live with great content like this. Thanks for listening.